Hey guys, it's Connor Marriott here, and in today's training, I'm going to talk about why you can't do the work. Because the more and more people we work with, the more clients we get, I notice that this becomes the most important thing. I can give people the exact strategies, the exact step-by-step on what to do, but still people can't seem to do it. And it's not entirely your fault. There's actually a force that's working against you, and it's stopping you from achieving your goals and actually growing to be the person you want to be, both internally and also externally. It's stopping you from actually achieving those business goals or lifestyle goals or whatever it is. And so this video, I'm going to talk about exactly why that is and how you can start to overcome it. So I'm sure you've been in a situation before where you've known what you should be doing, but you just can't seem to do it. You know what you want to be doing, but you just can't do it. And it's frustrating. Maybe you want to, let's say you want to lose some weight. Let's keep it relative to that. You want to wake up early and go for a run, but the alarm goes off and you just turn it off, go for a run. And you want to start eating healthy, but you see some donuts and you start eating them. And you get frustrated and you're like, why is this happening? I know logically what I need to do. I just can't seem to do it. And it's obviously not just with weight loss, it's with everything. And this actually governs business success as well. And so one thing we talk about a lot is your current situation and your, make sure I got enough room, desired situation. And so sticking with the weight loss analogy, let's say your current situation is you weigh 100 kilos and your desired situation is you want to weigh 80 kilos. You want to lose 20 kilos, right? So people talk about the current situation, the desired situation, and where they want to go. This is a goal, and people set goals, but they can't achieve them. And the reason is because there's one thing most people don't talk about, and that is your current self. And so your current self is not even so much what you logically think you are, but who your brain subconsciously thinks you are. So a huge number of our decisions and behaviors come subconsciously. We like to believe that we're very logical and everything's happening logically, but our brain's basically separated. We have the limbic system, which is all emotion, and then we have the cortex, which is logic. And the limbic system controls you far more than your limbic system. So a huge amount of your actions are actually subconscious. And you can try to logically do things, but realistically, if it's buried subconscious, you really don't have any chance of controlling it. And so, your limbic system, you subconsciously have this perceived self. And let's say, again, you're trying to lose weight, and who you subconsciously believe you to be is perhaps someone who's lazy and maybe, unfit and unmotivated. And so, you know what to do logically, and you try to get here. You try to get from your current self and turn it into this desired situation. But what happens? You just can't do it, right? Why? Because as you start to make progress, let's say you set an alarm, you wake up, you go for a run, and you do that for a couple of days. What happens is your brain sees what you're doing, and it says, hang on a minute, I'm doing these actions, so maybe you're progressing to your goal, and you're here now. I'm doing these actions, but that's not who I am. I'm this person, and this is what you subconsciously believe. Your brain sees this, and you're doing these actions, and there's this gap, right? This is who I am, but I'm taking these actions, and that's not who I am. And again, this is happening on a subconscious level. You're not consciously thinking this, but it creates this gap, and this gap is called cognitive dissonance. And your brain hates nothing more than cognitive dissonance. And basically what cognitive dissonance is when you're doing actions or behaviors that are not in line with who you believe yourself to be. And again, it's on a subconscious level. It's who your brain perceives you to be. And so when you go for that run, when you wake up early, when you try to eat healthy, your brain says, this isn't me, I don't do these things, and it pulls you back. And there's no way to get here because you're fighting against your brain, and you will never win. And so this is the thing that really it gets people constantly, because their brain sees them as this person, and any actions you try to take won't allow you to progress. It just keeps pulling you back. As soon as it creates that gap, that cognitive dissonance, it pulls you back. And it doesn't matter what diet plan you have or what workout routine you logically know you should be doing. And again, I'm using weight loss here as a metaphor for any area of your life. Your brain won't allow it. And it creates this identity crisis. Basically, you logically think you're this person, you logically want to be this person, but subconsciously you're not, and you're not doing the behaviors that are in line with this person. And that leads to a huge amount of anxiety and fear and depression, and it really just stops people. And often, if you don't address it, this anxiety and fear builds up, and people just say, okay, well then, that's clearly not meant to be, and they give up on their desired situation, and then they just settle for who they are, and their brain likes that, it's familiar, it feels better, and they give up. But we don't want to do that, because if you give up, you're never going to get to your desired situation. We want to get here. So how do we do that? Well, we want to actually reprogram our minds to, rather than having cognitive dissonance working against us, to have it working for us. And so how do we do that? Well, you've probably heard the saying, where attention goes, energy flows. And basically what that means is what you focus on, really that's what you become. And the human brain is unable to tell the difference between something that you vividly imagine continuously and something that actually is true. So if you imagine something over and over, and again, this is something that trips a lot of people up, that they constantly replay bad memories in their head, and the human brain can't tell the difference between something that you're imagining and something that's happening. So if you are someone who continually replays these bad memories or these traumatic experiences, you're essentially just reliving it over and over, but it's kind of beside the point. Essentially, as long as you are able to imagine something, and you do that with enough intensity and continuously enough, your brain will start to believe it's true. And so, keeping with the analogy of weight loss, you've got your current situation, and this person is lazy, and this is who your brain thinks you are, and all these things, and you want to get here. So what we want to do is, rather than just doing the external actions to try to get there, which we know won't work, we want to change our focus, because right now your brain is focused on this person. Even if it's not logically who you are, it's who your brain thinks you are, and you can't fight that. So what we want to do is create what we call a future self, a future version of ourselves that is able to do these things, that is fit, that is able to wake up early, that can eat healthy. And then what we want to do is focus on this person. If you can focus on that person enough, your brain will actually start to believe that that's who you are. And then something really powerful happens, because not only, number one, does it now allow you to do these actions because it's who you think you are, but any action that you take that is not in line with this new person, that starts to create cognitive dissonance, and your brain actually stops you from doing those things. So if you feel lazy, or you feel like you want to eat those donuts, your brain's actually going to say, hang on, that's not who I am. I'm this new person. I'm not going to do that, because again, there's nothing your brain hates more than cognitive dissonance and unfamiliarity. And so it's going to keep you online to your goals, and it's actually going to allow you to achieve your goals. And this is honestly the most powerful thing, because not many people really understand it. It's not many people actively work to achieve this, but when you do, you have the most powerful force, which is the human brain, the subconscious human brain, working with you, and it's going to actually keep you on track, and actually makes achieving your goals really, really effortless. I mean, you look at some people and they exercise every day, and they eat right, and they do all these things, and you're like, wow, how do they do that? They must have so much willpower. And no, they I'm sure they do have willpower, but what's really going on is that their brain believes them to be that way, and it won't allow them to act in a way that is unfamiliar with who it believes you are. And so how does this relate to business? Well, it relates a huge amount. Hopefully you've been able to see the comparisons, but again, if you try to grow your business, you could have the external information, you could have the facts, you could have, the step-by-step guide on how to run Facebook ads. But if you don't, have this programmed in your mind, if you subconsciously think you're, unsuccessful or lazy or broke, no matter what sort of actions you take, it's going to create that gap, it's going to create cognitive dissonance, and it's going to pull you back. So you need to be able to create this new version of yourself. Focus on that, where attention goes, energy flows. You become that person. You start working with cognitive dissonance, not against it. And that's when you can effortlessly achieve your goals. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Hopefully that's helped, and hopefully that's opened your eyes on maybe why in the past you haven't been able to achieve some things.